Welcome to EliteBuzz, your inside scoop on the glamorous world of celebrities. From exclusive lifestyle insights to the latest star-studded headlines, we bring you the stories everyone's talking about. Stay tuned for your daily dose of fame, fortune, and everything in between. The moment Ice Spice slid onto the music scene, she wasn't just another new rapper. She was instantly stamped as the Bronx baddie. Viral tracks, effortless confidence, and a style that seemed tailor-made for the internet had everyone talking. She wasn't just rising, she was skyrocketing. But then, things shifted. Practically overnight, she went from being the face of Dunkin' Donuts commercials to being laughed at, clowned on social media, and written off like yesterday's trend. So, what really happened? Did Ice Spice shine too bright too fast, or was she never meant to last in the first place? Ice Spice was born Isis Gaston, right in the Bronx, New York. Music wasn't just around her, it defined her world. And when she first heard Nicki Minaj, it was like a light bulb went off. She knew exactly what she wanted: to rap, to perform, and to carve out her own lane in hip-hop. Even while she was in college, that passion for music never died down. She eventually dropped out in her sophomore year, but that decision led to one of the biggest connections of her career. She linked up with a producer named Riot USA. And not only did they create music together, but rumors started swirling that they may have been a little more than just studio partners, if you catch my drift. Their first major product? Riot cooked up the beat for Ice Spice's Booty Freestyle, which dropped on SoundCloud in March 2021. At first, it was just another underground release, but then came her viral moment. Ice Spice hopped on the Bust It challenge and the internet ate it up. Suddenly, people were paying attention. Throughout 2021, she kept putting out music. None of those early tracks really broke through, but she wasn't slowing down. Then, in August 2022, everything changed. She released Munch, Feelin U, a track that had New York on fire. Pitchfork even called it one of the hottest drill songs of the summer. That was the record that turned Ice Spice from the girl with the viral freestyle to an undeniable force in the rap game. After its release, Munch Feelin U didn't just buzz around the underground, it made real noise. The track peaked at number 34 on the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart and eventually went gold. And if you need proof of just how big it hit, just check the music video. Over 65 million views and counting, with Ice Spice front and center, serving Bronx attitude and dancing to a beat that was impossible to ignore. But with every rise in hip-hop, there's always a little turbulence. And for Ice Spice, it came quick. Some people started whispering that she was feeling herself a little too much. By September 2022, stories began circulating that her booking fee had skyrocketed. Just months before, you could supposedly book Ice Spice for around $4,000 a show. Suddenly, promoters were saying the price tag had jumped to $15,000.
Now, Munch was hot, no doubt, but the big question on everybody's mind was anybody really ready to pay that much to see her live? One promoter even claimed that Ice Spice was backing out of shows she had already locked in at the lower price because she felt she deserved more. Of course, Ice Spice wasn't having it. She jumped on social media and called cap on the whole situation. But even that response stirred up more drama. She posted something that had people raising their eyebrows, and the internet was quick to bite back. Comment sections filled up with people saying her music wasn't worth that kind of money. Others dragged her stage presence, calling her live performances lazy, forgettable, and straight up boring. And here's where the story gets interesting. While the internet was busy clowning her, Ice Spice was securing the kind of bag that most new artists only dream about. Just 1 month after Munch dropped, she inked a major deal with 10K Projects and Capitol Records. And the CEO didn't just see potential, she flat out said Ice Spice was a global superstar in the making. So while the haters were busy debating whether she was worth $15K a show, Ice Spice was already playing a bigger game, moving from viral sensation to industry-backed artist with the machine behind her. That record deal wasn't just big, it was a dream deal. Ice Spice didn't just get signed, she walked away with something most artists fight for their entire careers: full ownership of her publishing and masters. That meant she wasn't just making hits, she was making history for herself. By October 2022, she dropped Bikini Bottom, and just a few months later, at the top of 2023, she released her debut EP, Like. The project exploded onto the scene, landing in the top 10 of Billboard's Top Rap Albums chart. For a new artist barely a year into the spotlight, that was massive. And then the momentum became unstoppable. Gangsta Boo cracked the Hot 100, giving her the first official entry of her career. In Her Mood followed, climbing to number 58, showing that she wasn't just a one-song wonder. But February 2023 is when Ice Spice really crossed over. Her collab with PinkPantheress, Boy's a Liar Part 2, didn't just chart, it soared to number 3 on the Hot 100. Suddenly, Ice Spice wasn't just a New York drill artist, she was becoming a pop culture fixture.
Then, in April, came the cosign of all cosigns, Nicki Minaj. The two linked up for Princess Diana, which debuted at number 4 on the Hot 100. The track was a full circle moment. Ice Spice had grown up idolizing Nicki, and now they were trading bars together. Their chemistry was so undeniable that just 2 months later, they teamed up again for Barbie World, a track tied to the blockbuster Barbie movie. That one peaked at number 7, cementing Ice Spice as one of the hottest new rappers in the world. Her fans were eating it up. They gave her new nicknames, celebrated her every move, and doubled down on the idea that Ice Spice was next up. But not everyone was convinced. With her career moving at lightning speed, critics began asking the question that hangs over almost every fast-rising artist. Was this really organic? That's when whispers of her being an industry plant started circulating. If you're not familiar, that's basically when an artist looks like they came up from the ground level, but behind the scenes they're actually being heavily pushed by a label or insiders with big money and powerful connections. So was Ice Spice truly the Bronx girl who turned a viral moment into global stardom? Or was she always backed by something bigger? Here's the thing about industry plants. They're usually packaged to feel down-to-earth, relatable, maybe even grassroots, but behind the curtain, their rise is anything but organic. That's exactly why Ice Spice started catching heat. Her come-up was so sudden, so polished, that a lot of people began to side-eye it. The rollout of her music, the way her image seemed perfectly branded, the early endorsements from big names in the game, even though she was still relatively new, it all felt too clean, too fast. To her critics, it wasn't luck or hustle, it was engineering. Viral success, not earned success. And then there was the other layer to the conversation, the way the industry tends to push artists who fit a certain mold. Some said Ice Spice was being fast-tracked because she checked all the boxes. Light-skinned, curvy, marketable. That narrative sparked frustration, with people arguing that more talented female rappers were being overlooked while she was handed the spotlight. Ice Spice eventually addressed the chatter in Variety. She admitted that at first, the rumors got under her skin. Being labeled an industry plant isn't exactly flattering, especially when you're trying to prove yourself. But with time, she shrugged it off. If anything, the noise only fueled her. And just when people thought Ice Spice's ceiling had been reached, she made her boldest move yet. In May 2023, she popped up on the remix of Taylor Swift's hit single Karma. The internet exploded. Swifties were furious, calling her feature unnecessary, claiming she dragged the track down and asking why Taylor would even bring her into the mix. The backlash was loud, so loud it reignited the industry plant accusations. To critics, it was proof that someone, somewhere was pulling strings to make sure Ice Spice was everywhere. But here's the twist. Despite all that noise, the remix skyrocketed. Karma peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Taylor and Ice Spice seemed completely unfazed by the criticism, and instead of the collab sinking her, it actually cemented their friendship. These days, the two are practically inseparable.
So while the internet was busy debating whether Ice Spice was authentic or manufactured, she was standing right next to one of the biggest pop stars in the world, racking up another career-defining hit. By January 2024, Ice Spice was back in the headlines, this time for all the wrong reasons. She dropped a new single that had people doing double takes, and if you've never heard it, let's just say it wasn't exactly the type of record you'd expect from someone being positioned as the future of hip-hop. The track sparked instant backlash. Many fans and critics called it flat-out disrespectful to the culture. Hip-hop, after all, was built on wordplay, storytelling, poetry, protest, and precision. It was about taking pain and turning it into power. But here was Ice Spice dropping what some felt was nothing more than viral fluff, something designed to trend rather than transcend. For purists, it was the last straw. They argued that songs like this were a mockery of the genre, that while authentic, hardworking artists struggled to get their voices heard, the industry was greenlighting nonsense just because it had a beat and a pretty face to sell it. Some even suggested it was time for hip-hop to start gatekeeping again, because if anything and everything can pass as rap, what's left to truly respect? But controversy wasn't done with Ice Spice just yet. That same month, she and her producer Riot found themselves in court. An artist named D. Chambers accused them of stealing elements from his 2022 track In That Mood for Ice Spice's In Ha Mood. Although the case was quietly settled later in 2024, the lawsuit left a mark. Even if she wasn't found guilty of outright stealing, the accusation cast a shadow over her breakout years. And in music, sometimes perception does more damage than reality. Then came July 2024, a make or break moment. Ice Spice finally dropped her highly anticipated debut album, Y2K. This was the project fans and critics alike had been waiting for, the one that would supposedly prove whether she could stand tall as more than just a viral name. But when the numbers came in, the excitement dimmed. Y2K debuted at number 18 on the Billboard 200, not terrible, but not the superstar launch many expected. And the reviews? Mixed at best. Critics and fans complained that the album was too short, too repetitive, and lacked any real songwriting depth. Some said it felt more like a playlist than a carefully crafted debut. The question was starting to get louder. Had Ice Spice already peaked, or was this just a stumble on the way to something bigger? When Ice Spice's debut album Y2K finally dropped, critics weren't exactly impressed. The Standard called it undercooked, while NPR went even further, claiming her creativity had already stalled. But despite the mixed reviews, Ice Spice wasn't slowing down. In July 2024, she launched her Y2K World Tour, hitting stages across North America and Europe. On paper, she was riding high. In reality, though, cracks were starting to show. Behind the glitz and flashing lights, rumors of diva-like behavior began to surface. And then came the bombshell. Ice Spice's ex-best friend, Baby Storm, leaked private text messages where Ice Spice allegedly trashed none other than Nicki Minaj. In the texts, she reportedly called Nicki ungrateful and delusional, even accusing her of trying to snake extra profits from their Barbie World collaboration.
Let's be real. Going toe-to-toe with the queen of rap? That's a dangerous move for any rising artist. But Ice Spice didn't seem to care. Instead of damage control, more drama followed. Next came accusations of her being a homewrecker. British influencer Madeline Argy alleged that her rapper boyfriend Central C cheated on her with Ice Spice. Not only that, but she claimed Ice and C even recorded what she called a cheating anthem together, a track titled Did It First. Whether true or not, the story only added fuel to the fire. And just when fans thought it couldn't get messier, Ice Spice found herself at the center of another scandal. This time, it was about her professionalism, or lack thereof. On December 31st, 2024, Ice Spice was the headlining act at a major New Year's Eve festival in Australia. But instead of ringing in the new year with fireworks, she sparked outrage. Reports say she showed up nearly 30 minutes late to her set, and when she finally hit the stage, her time was immediately cut short, just 5 minutes into her performance, so the next artist could go on as scheduled. To make matters worse, the crowd wasn't having it. As she walked up and down the stage, seemingly unfazed, fans booed her off. For an artist once hailed as the people's princess, the backlash was brutal. Ice Spice's world tour might have been designed to cement her star power, but moments like these were starting to chip away at her reputation. Eventually, after a few awkward minutes of pacing the stage, Ice Spice threw up a peace sign and dipped out. The boos followed her, and so did the criticism. Fans took to social media calling her entitled, disrespectful, and even an embarrassment. It was a rough way to close out what should have been a career-defining performance. A few days later, she tried to explain herself online, but the damage had already been done. By 2025, her momentum had slowed dramatically. Ice Spice had only released one single that year, Hannah Montana, featuring NLE Choppa and Da Baby. But instead of storming up the charts, the track barely made a ripple. No Billboard placement, no viral moment, nothing. And here's where reality sets in. Because at the end of the day, you need more than a slim waist and a catchy Instagram aesthetic to keep the public's attention. The internet might hand you a moment, but moments are fleeting. Building a legacy takes more than looks, more than hype, more than TikTok virality. It takes artistry, consistency, and growth. Ice Spice had the world's attention once, but attention without development, that's a straight shot to irrelevance. And maybe that's the bigger lesson here, not just for her, but for the entire industry. We've got to stop treating artists like fast fashion. Labels push them out, chase the hottest trend, and squeeze everything they can from the moment. But when the hype fades, and it always fades, the only thing left is the music. And if the music doesn't hit, neither will the career. Thank you for watching EliteBuzz. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We bring you the latest in celebrity news, glamorous lifestyles, and behind-the-scenes moments from the stars you love.